Tubers, tubettes, crazy people. This is an interview with my friend Scott, who affectionately goes by the name of Scottyboy. Now, Scottyboy is everything I'm not. Scottyboy is young. He's tall, dark, handsome. Scottyboy has done what I've wanted to do and never did. He's traveled all over the Philippines, seen I don't know how many islands and how many little different barangays and cities and towns. He's met all kinds of people. But one thing that I've done that Scottyboy hasn't done is find a significant other. Let's find out why here in the video. Okay, so I am here with my friend Scott, aka Scottyboy, who has a very interesting past. You are how old? 45?
45 years old, yeah.
And you left home at the age of?
I was 22. I left home.
22. And you've been roaming Asia ever since.
I went there to teach English in South Korea, and basically, I say I never looked back. I didn't want to go home. I wasn't interested in going home. I wanted to stay in Asia because when I was 19, I got a taste of the Philippines and fell in love right away. And the only reason I went to South Korea wasn't because I loved South Korea. It was because I wanted to be closer to the Philippines. And it was the only way because there were no jobs in the Philippines. So South Korea was the only job that got me close to the Philippines.
And what did you do in South Korea?
I was teaching. I was teaching there. I went there as a teacher, and for the 22 years that I was there teaching, basically it just became my comfort zone. You know, I didn't love teaching. It wasn't like something I enjoyed, but I didn't hate it either. And when I compared it to, you know, my friends' jobs from high school or whatever at home, it's like, they were sort of always changing their job and they just weren't satisfied. And now I just felt relaxed as a teacher. The money was not good, but I enjoyed life.
And you were teaching in a classroom?
Oh yeah, it was a classroom, yeah. Yep.
You had a chalkboard and everything?
Oh yeah, it was a classroom. There were...
Did you ever use hand puppets?
Maybe, even if they gave me hand puppets, I probably didn't use them.
Okay, so now you're in the Philippines from South Korea. And how long have you been in the Philippines?
I came in March. I came in March this year, so it's only been, how long is that, 4 or 5 months? And I came here to meet my LDR, who I was in love with, and things did not work out, and I had the apartment there booked for a month. I only met my LDR twice. And so the 1 month was up in my Airbnb there, and so I took off. I was nothing to do, you know. I went over to Bohol to meet my sort of ex-girlfriend, and so after that, you know, that didn't work out. Nothing was sparked or anything, and so I just kept traveling around from place to place, and I came to Dumaguete during that time, and I went up to meet Sunshine Shoulders at the time, and then I just continued up, met Q Adventures, another vlogger, and I went up to Manila, and I went up to Angeles, and just traveling around, enjoying my freedom before the inevitable happens. I am going to meet that Filipina eventually and settle down, so I want to do my traveling adventure now, because if I met my dream Filipina, she's probably not going to be down with, you know, traveling around staying at a different hotel every night.
So do you enjoy the traveling part? Do you like being single? Do you like being in a different town? Or is it getting old?
Good question. I would say that it's a dream come true because it's what I've always wanted to do. But you know the saying, you know, be careful what you wish for, because the devil's in the details. I'll tell you one thing, okay? Staying at a different hotel every night wears on you. It does wear on you. And I'm sure the people, they do understand it does wear on you. Number one, you never have a home.
Yeah.
You know, okay. Having a home is priceless. And you don't really realize it until you're traveling around staying at a different hotel every night.
Yeah. And
so I would love to have a home. I would have a huge desire to have a home again, even if it's just for 1 month. The actual transportation, getting from place to place, as a tall guy, I'm 6'2", it does wear on you, right? Dealing with the you know, welcoming crew and the trikes and the buses and the whole bus terminal thing, it does wear on you because you got to deal with these guys who are trying to like lead you in a different direction maybe, right?
Yeah.
It does wear on you. And when you're doing this every single day, And someone has, I mean, I've had comments, why don't you just stay in one place longer, right? Well, the goal is like, what I'd be doing is what I'd be doing anyway. Even if I was not vlogging, I would be doing the same thing, because what I want to do is I want to find where I want to live. Because although I've been coming here for 20 years, I first came here when I was 19, so that's 25 years. I have not really found my home, some location where I want to stay. And so that's what I'm doing now. I go from city to city, and I'm big on the click. Like a lot of guys, they'll say, like, from a technical perspective, can you live there? Whereas for me, Dumaguete from a technical perspective is great, because I like having a lot of foreigners around, even though a lot of guys say they don't want to deal with other foreigners. I've dealt with other foreigners for a long time, never had a problem in my own life, in my own journey in life. I've never had a problem with other foreigners in the Phils. And I used to live in Dumaguete for 2 months. And my big problem with Dumaguete was the internet, the Wi-Fi, the water, the electricity. It just kind of sucked. Now, it could have been where I was staying specifically, and it could be workarounds, but it sort of left a dry taste in my mouth.
Okay.
And when I went up to Cebu, everything worked, and I'm like, oh, this is much better, but I don't like all the traffic, So finding the perfect place is what I'm doing right now.
Good luck with that. Because if there was a perfect place, we'd all be there. So of all the places that you've traveled, give me the one place that you like the least and the one place you like the most so far.
Fantastic question, because I was just in Ozamis a few days ago, okay? And Ozamis, Mindanao, I'm a single guy, and I'm straight, I like the babes. And so I got a lot of looks there in Ozamis, and I'm talking not looks of who the hell is this guy, it's looks of admiration. And I hate to toot my own horn. It would have been any foreigner who was there, okay? And so I did like that. If I was living there, it would be pretty cool to live there, if you know what I mean. And, but it was hot. Dealing with the sweat every day does wear on you also. Prior to Ozamis, I was in Malaybalay, which is in the mountains of Bukidnon, not far from Ozamis. And Malaybalay is like a little Baguio, And so being in Baguio has its benefits, and the number one thing is the climate. So when you're up in Malaybalay, you can walk around all day. You do not sweat. It's a small little town. You can just walk everywhere. And when I was up there filming, the university, there's a huge provincial university there in Malaybalay, and it was off. It was vacation time. So there weren't a lot of girls walking around just when I was there. But I'd love to go back there when the girls are walking around, because they come from all over the province to settle there. And I'm just saying, if you're a single guy like myself, the girls in the area is kind of a deciding factor if I'm going to live there or not. And also cost of living there. And in Malaybalay, it was so cheap, 5,000 pesos for a place to live there. And so there was the cost of living, the climate, the girls there in Malaybalay. Wow. It's quite a place, and it's sort of off the beaten path. Not many foreigners know about it. It was quite a place. So yeah, Ozamis, Malaybalay, and I got a thing for Bohol too. And so I'm going to Bohol after Dumaguete here, this stay here, and I'm gonna check out Bohol and vlog there.
Is there a place that you really don't like that you say, I'll never go back here again?
I was staying a month in Pasig, Manila. Because Manila's like a country. You could have a great experience in Pasig and a horrible experience in BGC, although it's in the same city. So you can't really say, a lot of people say I don't like Manila, okay? Well, what part of Manila were you in? You know what I'm saying? And there's even the outskirts. It's like a country itself. So you can't say Manila as a blank statement. You've got to say specifically in Manila where you were when you said, I don't like Manila, okay? And so I was in Pasig, Manila, and I did not like it there just because it was too freaking noisy. And when I was in Pasig, you can't even go to the next town. You're sitting in traffic for 6 hours, seemingly. You're in the taxi, but you're just sitting in traffic there going to the next part, unless it's 4 a.m. on Saturday. Uh-huh. So yeah, I did not like Manila. I'll say Manila, although it was Pasig, Manila. I may like another part of Manila. And then I was in Angeles after that. And it was, after 3 days, I was kind of sick of it. And the number one problem with Angeles is just the constant massage, sir, Viagra, sir, can you buy this, sir, handout, sir, constant, every single day. I can't walk from my house to get a coffee without 5 times someone asking me to buy something.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Okay.
So as far as the worst places, it's probably sort of Pasig, it's Angeles.
Okay. What is your primary driver? Are you looking for love? Are you looking just to meet as many girls as you can? Honestly, what's your deal? Is it female companionship? Do you want to go from girl to girl to girl, or do you want to meet the one? Where's your?
Yeah, well, the good thing about my life is I've been single my whole life, okay? And I've had girlfriends, long-term girlfriends. I've been faithful, but basically I've been single my whole life, and because of this, I've experienced a lot, and I've sort of got everything out of my system, okay? So that's the good thing about my life, as opposed to some guys who got married young, divorced at 65, and now they want to play around. I've got all my play around thing.
That's a good point.
Got all my play around thing done at a young age. So now I'm 45. I would like to settle down. You're talking about priorities. And what I'd love is like the perfect girl and the perfect location. So basically just 2 priorities. And if I could get those 2 settled, and they might be one and the same, hopefully you don't have to bring the girl out of her province, because girls aren't usually down like that in the Philippines. But say, for example, I'm in Tagbilaran and Bohol. I meet the perfect girl. I like the city. Okay, boom, I'm ready to settle down. And that'll be the end of the travel adventures, basically. But that's really, really my, what did you call it, a driving?
Driver.
That's my driver, yeah, the perfect girl and the perfect location.
Okay. So if you met the perfect girl in the non-perfect location and she was willing to move, would you relocate with her to that perfect location and set up house?
Well, yeah. I mean, if the perfect girl is willing to move, then it's not a problem. But usually in the Philippines, the Filipinas, they're not really down with relocating permanently. It's kind of different than taking a one week trip somewhere. They might be down with that. But permanently, in my own experience, the girls are not really down with leaving their family, leaving their comfort zone. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure the girls are out there. But I'm not too confident about that happening. So in my mind, I am thinking like right place, right girl, and not take the girl away from her comfort zone.
Okay, unless she was open to that.
Yeah, if she was open to that, then that'd be kind of ideal. Ideal.
Yeah, because we are talking perfect girl here.
Right.
All right. So you're 45, and that kind of inspires me a bit, because for the longest time, the only guys, for the most part, coming over to Asia were guys that could afford to retire, have a income stream that would work, pension, Social Security, whatnot. They were usually in their 60s, older guys like me, and we would come over, and we were sort of the face of the foreigner for many, many years, ever since World War II, actually. And so now, because of the digital nomad type of setup that there is, the portability of income, the ability to work from home, and if your home happens to be in the Philippines or Vietnam or South Korea, that's cool. Do you foresee a younger generation coming into the Philippines?
Yeah, and I think it started like there was a big leap when it came to COVID, because there are guys, even like my brother, who they were in an office when COVID came. Now they are, working from home. So I think there was a big jump there. I have seen, I've been coming here every few years for the last 20-something years. And 10 years ago, I never saw young foreigners here, right? I was the only one, right? And today I see them all the time. So there kind of was a big leap. I don't know if this is going to be a continuing trend, because a lot of the younger people, like the nomads, they're more down with Thailand, Cambodia, that area, not so much with the Philippines. And it's usually because internet is their number one priority.
Okay.
And it's so much more reliable over there. But yeah, I mean, speaking for myself, I'm not the digital nomad type. I don't know what really to do with a computer. I don't know computer programming or digital marketing or any of that stuff. And really, I don't really have a desire to learn. My big thing was I was going to teach English online when I got here. And that's how I was going to sustain myself, living my dream in the Philippines. But I kind of knew I didn't want to do that because, being in the industry in Korea, I knew this was not a good industry to go in, especially online. Because you're going to get more and more non-skilled people like myself who are just going to teach English online. And so the students were going to stay the same or go down, and the teachers were going to go up, and it's not a good situation to be in. So thank God for me, the YouTube thing, it worked out. And that basically saved my life. That's the reason I'm here right now. Because if I didn't have YouTube right now, I've been here several months. Right about now, I'd be looking at getting a job back in South Korea and getting out of the Philippines. And I'd be sad to do so, but I wouldn't really have any choice unless I'm just going to go through my savings sort of irresponsibly.
So YouTube, what's the name of your channel?
Regular Guy.
Regular Guy.
Yes.
And so the regular guy is sitting here with the irregular guy because of the age difference. That was a cheap joke.
Right.
Anyway, I think it's healthy that younger guys are coming over here. Now, I know you don't fit into the box of the digital nomad, but do you think that 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 45-year-olds, do you think that is going to be a benefit to the relationship statuses of the Filipinos over here? In other words, I'm a realist. And so it was like I stated before, the pool that the Filipinos had if they wanted to meet a foreigner was a 60-year-old plus guy for the most part. Now the change has happened where the pool is now broadening for them. Do you feel that it's better for the 20-year-old Filipina to meet the 35-year-old guy as opposed to the 50 or the 60-year-old guy?
Good question. Now, the thing is, if the 20-year-old girl, Filipina, meets the 35-year-old guy, okay, she's more attracted to him physically.
Absolutely.
Probably. But the 35-year-old guy is not willing to settle down and have a child. I mean, when she meets that 60-year-old guy, he's got the pension, whereas the 35-year-old has to work. Maybe he has to move. Maybe he's going back home. Maybe it's temporary. The 60-year-old is more permanent, reliable for the girl if she's willing to, if she wants to settle down. But it sort of gives an option to the Filipinas. But realistically, like when I'm traveling around, I don't really see younger people. And the reason is, like, most people, they go to one spot. They will be in Dumaguete, but they're not outside of Dumaguete. So the girls that are outside Dumaguete, which is, or outside of the places where these young foreigners are, BGC, Dumaguete, Angeles, maybe Davao, it's 99% of the Philippines. So these girls are, maybe if they want to look for a foreigner, they're going to go online. And if there is a foreigner in her town, he's going to be the 60-year-old guy. And that's basically what she knows. And like the girls say, like, age is just a number. That's what they say.
But do you really buy that? I mean, to this day, when I see a 19-year-old girl walking with a 70-year-old guy, the visual doesn't work for me.
No, and a lot of guys, a lot of people, they're totally against it. Like my own mother has said to me, don't date a young girl, but that's all I'm interested in. That's why she doesn't know about my channel. But when it comes to the
45-year-old hiding the stuff from his mother.
I have to, like
you might be putting time out.
like the 19 and 70-year-old guy, like whenever someone brings up the age gap topic, it's always the extreme.
Yeah.
It's always the extreme. But when it comes to reality, okay, when it comes to reality.
Hello.
Hey.
I see you on the regular.
Yeah.
We're honored to have you in Dumaguete.
Nice to see you.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
So basically, when it
I
comes
told you the channel was organic. We don't edit that out.
No
we
problem.
just had a guy wave at us.
Yeah, that's cool.
So.
When it comes to the age gap, I do love that topic when it comes to talking about it because it really is dynamic. And what I really love to talk about is like the Filipinas' perspective on it, right? Because,
tell me about that.
Okay, well, I don't think if you did talk to a Filipina, she would not really be honest about the topic. And the reason is not her fault. I think the reason is she just hasn't really thought about it, you know? Like when it comes to the younger guys coming here, they aren't really prevalent, you know? Like it is sort of an anomaly. Maybe if a girl is into the younger guy, but, you know, it's like, I think the reason some Filipinos aren't into the Filipino guys is they're just not ready to settle down, right? And she'll see a younger expat guy, and maybe he's from America, and they'll say, oh yeah, he's good looking, he's better looking, but he just wants to play, he just wants to have fun. It might be the perception. But, you know, there are a lot of younger guys here, and I met a lot of them. They're sort of like disability from the U.S. military kind of thing, and they'll get their pension, and they'll be 35 or whatever, and they are settling down with the girl. But
do you think they're a positive influence?
The younger expats
The younger
here.
guys, yeah. The guy you just described, he's 35 or 40, maybe he got PTSD or he got wounded and he's getting a disability check. He's got more money than I got coming in.
Okay.
And he hooks up with a young lady. Do you think that is healthier?
I think it is healthy, and I'll tell you specifically why. The younger guys that I've talked to, they've all had like good intention. They aren't just here to bang as many girls as they can. Now, those are the guys that I've talked to. So in my perspective, from what I've seen firsthand, the younger guys do have good intention. I think that if they had bad intention, if there was a lot of guys here just looking to travel and bang a bunch of babes, I think that would give a real negative look to it because, you know, the truth will always come out at some point. And so the guys that I've met have very good intention. They're married, even though they're younger. They're 10 years younger than I am, but they're getting married or they're stuck. If they got a girlfriend, they're stuck with that one girl and they're not dating around. They are responsible. So it seems to me that the reputation is not out. But if there was a reputation that's going to come out as far as younger expat guys, it is going to be a good reputation.
I hope so. Because I've experienced, I've observed, I should say, some real negative stuff coming out of some of the young guys that come over here. They've brought with them drinking, drugs. They tend to be the party guys. They're into a little bit of nefarious type of activities to fund their you know what I'm saying. And I've watched the women that were my friends and still are, and they've gotten together with these gentlemen or these young men, and they've just gone downhill, and they have become drinking and drugging, and I've watched them age something fierce because of that lifestyle. Now, I'm not putting everybody in a box, but it's just what I've observed of certain guys from certain areas with this. They are young, they're good looking, they're muscular. The woman obviously is going to be attracted to that, but they bring with them some real garbage, and that gets injected into her life. So for me, that's sad. And what I'm hoping for is that there is an influx of younger people coming over here. I think that's healthy for the country. I think if a 25-year-old woman hooks up with a 35-year-old guy, he's a good guy. Now they can start a family, they can grow old together, and they can do it over here where he's going to be taken care of in a much more domesticated setting that he would ever have a chance of finding in America. And the woman will be happy as a clam because most Filipinas really want to have a baby. Most of them really want to have just one man. And like all females, they like the idea of security, and they love the idea of not being rich, but they like the idea of the fact that they're not going to have to worry about the rent next month. They don't need to live in a big mansion. My own wife has told me if we ever built a house, she goes, I just want a small house. I don't need a big place. I don't want a pool. I don't need 5 bedrooms. It needs to be simple. In other words, that's the mentality that they bring. And I'm just hoping that young guys can bring that over if they do. So what's your take on that?
It's really interesting because a lot of, like by default, what we do as humans, we like to generalize, right? And like the thing is, like I was saying, I had sort of, I've met younger foreigners in the Philippines who were good guys and they had good intentions, right? And then Old Dog is giving his perspective from what he's seen in his world, in his environment, and he's saying he's seen a lot of sort of nefarious stuff. And so, as far as like the thing is, every individual, all of us, the Filipina, the guys, we're all going to have our journey. And the thing is like, imagine you have a daughter, okay, and she brings home some guy, and she's so in love with this guy, but everyone else around her knows this guy's going to use her and abuse her, right? But the thing is, you can't get it in her head to end it with this guy, right? So the Filipinos are going to meet these younger guys, and they might have bad intention. And I do think there's a larger percentage of younger guys who have not good intention in compared to guys who are retired in 60, okay? But that's just my perspective from what I know in my experience. Now,
I concur with you on that.
okay. Now, the Filipinos who meet these younger guys and get involved with this not good stuff, they just have to go through this. They have to learn from their mistakes. And just like a lot of the younger Filipinos who are into the older guy, a lot of them are single moms. And the thing is, they learned from their mistake. They met some boy, some village boy, the barangay boy, and he got her pregnant and took off. And then it was from that bad experience that came where she realized, oh, I better get with a more responsible older guy who's not going to do this. And so she just learned in her path what to do, right? And so it's the same thing with these Filipinos getting involved with these younger foreign guys who, if they don't have a good intention, they're going to just learn from their mistakes. So I think at the end, for each individual, I think it is going to work out because we're all smart enough we can figure out our own life. What do we want? And if a girl just goes down the wrong path with another foreigner, and I'll tell you one story. There's a friend of a friend I know. She got involved with a Chinese young guy. He's only 25 years old, but he was in some scheme here in the Philippines. I don't know. It might have been drugs. I don't know what it was. But he went to jail, and she was involved with him because she got tempted. Basically, they sat down together, and he said, hey, we can make 100,000 pesos a month if we just do this. So we can make 1 million pesos a month if we just do this. And of course, she's not thinking about the danger. Right. She's from a poor family, and she just, wow, 1 million pesos. Okay, let's do it, right? And so they got involved in whatever they got involved in, and now she's a single mom, and she's also in jail. Okay? And you don't want to be here in jail, because the reason is you'll be in jail 5 years before you even get your trial. Sure. So she got screwed up. Why? Because she met this 25-year-old Chinese guy. Foreign guy. I'll just say foreign guy.
Foreign guy.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Let's change topics for just a second. We've kind of covered romance to some degree. We covered your background to some degree. Let's get into budgeting. There's going to be guys watching this video and they say, hey, I want to do what Scottyboy's doing. I want to travel around. I want to stay in a hotel. I want to visit different places. I want to check out the Philippines. Can you give the boys and girls out there kind of an idea of what the monthly overhead is? I'm not asking you what do you make, but I'm asking you what would be the average monthly income to do what you're doing. And you use public transportation. Okay.
Yeah, good question, because as someone who's traveling at this moment in my life, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life, but I'm traveling city to city, one day kind of thing. I'm not even paying attention to the budget because it's kind of a waste of time, you know? Like, you're really, you got to follow what is out there, what is available. Like, when you're staying at a hotel, like think about, you're going to stay at a 1,000 peso place or a 2,000 peso place, 20 bucks or 40 bucks. It's going to be night and day. But look at your own budget. That's 30,000 a month compared to 60,000 a month.
For lodging.
For lodging only, right? And then you got the transportation, and then you got the food on top of that, because you can't go and bring food back to your hotel. So it's always out. And I was in the habit of just Jollibee, Chowking, because wherever I went, it was just, there was always a Chowking right next to where I was, and I didn't know where to go. Because, you know, like, if you're in Dumaguete, you know where to go if you've been here for a while. But right. If you're in some small town like Ozamas, I walk outside of my hotel, turn left, turn right, I have no freaking idea what's around me, right? So you just gravitate towards these places like the franchises. So anyway, you do rack up the budget. You do rack up, it's just constantly, every day, pesos out, right? And so, okay, if you wanted to do what I did, look at about 100,000 pesos a month, which is about 2,000. And that is, not low end, but it's about between middle and low. And you just got to realize yourself, if you are really westernized, it's going to be hard to stay at some of the places that I stay in. And if you are really needing the internet, if you're a digital nomad, then you got to realize when you go to these small towns, it's really hard to get internet. I mean, really freaking hard. And so when you do what I do, traveling around one day, one city, you got to just be a little more open-minded about. You just got to have nothing on your plate, okay? Like my last city I was in, Dapitan. It was like I could not upload the video anywhere, right? And like the thing is, I was walking home from a walk and I realized, oh, there's really good data here. So if I hotspot to my laptop, I can upload the vid. So I go upstairs, I have a shower, I go back outside. It was 20 megabytes. An hour later, 30 minutes later, it was now 1 megabyte for the exact same spot. And that's what you get. That's what you get when you're in these small towns, just like data, Wi-Fi. It's just not a priority to them. So, and when it comes to like hotels, lodging, what I find in the small towns is you'll have the resorts that are expensive, and then you'll have the really low places like a pension house. And really, you could look around for a good place to stay, but then you kind of waste your day. Like you're saying to the trike guy, oh, bring me here, that's not good, let's go to another one, let's go to another one. Before you know it, your time is up. So I have this habit of just going to the first place, and all I want to do is put my bags down and walk outside, hunt around the city center. I'm a city center kind of guy. A lot of people say, if you go here, check out the diving, or I'm not a diving kind of guy. I don't care. I just want to go to a coffee shop, check out the view, check out the girls, see what's there in the city center. I'm a coffee shop kind of guy. So we all got our different priorities, but you got to be open-minded. But as far as budgeting goes, look at, you could 100,000, you could even do it for less if you are on a backpacking younger guy who's more open-minded. Because if you can stay at a hostel, a shared place, you're looking at 500 pesos a night. But I could probably save money if I prepared ahead of time wherever I'm going. But I don't like to prepare when it comes to my vlogging. I like the raw dog style. I like to get out of the bus, deal with the welcoming crew, the trike guys, just take me to a hotel and just stay at a rough place because it makes for a better vlog. If someone picks me up, like a taxi, and I go to a prearranged place and it's kind of less interesting, right?
It is.
So for me, as a vlogger, I have to do things rough style, and I do enjoy it, I got to admit. But if you are you could plan it. You could plan it. You could plan everything out and really decrease your budget. But 100,000 pesos, $2,000 a month is what you're going to look at. If you want to do what I did, one place, one
travel the Philippines, take a look around, check
city,
out different areas.
Yes. Yep.
Cebu 1 week, Angeles the next week, Bohol another week, Baguio, Dumaguete, whatever. Ferries, buses, pretty inexpensive way to travel.
Pain in the butt sometimes. So you got to realize these ferry trips, sometimes they go real slow.
Yeah, they're brutal.
Yeah.
I don't envy that.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in a year? You're making your living now strictly from YouTube. I am definitely going to put Scotty's link in the description, regular guy.
Thank you.
I'm going to encourage you to check out his channel so you can see firsthand what it is he's talking about, what his day-to-day activities are, his outlook, where he goes, what he does. It might give you quite an education, much more than I ever will. So where do you see yourself like in a year?
See, what I'm going to do soon is I'm going to stay like one city, 1 month, okay, as opposed to 1 day. And the reason is you get a big discount on your accommodations if you book on Airbnb for 1 month. And a lot of people say Airbnb, it's more expensive on Airbnb basically, right? But number one, you do get a big discount if you stay for 1 month. And number two, you're paying for convenience, Like you pay for an expensive coffee in Starbucks because you can sit down, use their space to enjoy a nice comfortable chair and whatnot. And it's the same thing with Airbnb. You are paying for convenience. If, say for example, I'm in Bohol at an Airbnb, maybe it's going to cost me $500 and that would be expensive for me for the month. But You really need a break sometimes. If you are traveling around, you really need to take a break. And if you know some place that's good, hey man, just freaking enjoy it. Like you gotta realize, like I'm 45 or you're 60 or you're 35, we're still gonna live for a long freaking time. So if you stay for a place for 1 month, it's not really a long time in comparison to your life. So I am gonna go to Airbnb. I am gonna look for a place on Bohol, and I am gonna stay for 1 month. And I'm really going to enjoy just relaxing in Bohol. And so when it comes to like a year from now, I see myself doing, instead of 1 day, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, one city. Because it is inside me, I do have this strong desire to just explore the entire island of the Philippines. And the reason is, like I've said 100 times, you could spend the rest of your life traveling the Philippines and never see it.
Never see it.
So I want to be someone who does what I say to people. And so there's, like, in Luzon, there's a bunch of places like 100 islands that I want to go check out whatever that is. And yeah, so in 1 year from now, assuming I have not met my dream girl, right? Because my ultimate dream, look at 5 years out or 2 years out, is to build my small little concrete house with a little leased land, okay? Live the low budget life there. But that's maybe, if it is 1 year out, perfect. But that's the one variable I can't get past is, am I going to meet that girl in the next year or so? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fate.
It is fate. It's in God's hands. And if it happens, it's good. But if it doesn't happen, it'll be 1 month, 1 month. When I meet the right girl, it'll be one place for the rest of my life.
And you derive your income now strictly from YouTube?
It's 100% from YouTube because I could also teach online, but just because I've been doing it for so long, like just as a smoker has to smoke, it's kind of I really don't want to do, like as much as the smoker wants a cigarette, I really don't want to start teaching again. I really don't want to go down that road, you know? It's like every molecule in my body is saying, Scotty, don't do this teaching thing anymore. I have the chance now with YouTube to get out of teaching. And it really, yes, it is all I have. YouTube is all I have. If the YouTube thing doesn't work out, man, I'm going to have to go back to the job that I am not happy with.
Plan B.
That's plan B. And if you have to do it, you have to do it.
Would you ever go back to Canada?
No, and the reason is, it's all about your instinct. I just have no instinct at all to even visit for 1 month, much less live there, you know? Yeah, I don't really have a plan B, but if I did, I'd have to go back to teaching again. And I wouldn't hate going back, but the time has come where it's like the midlife crisis. You just need to have that change.
All right, so we're going to cut it here. If you have one piece of advice for anybody coming out to the Philippines, what would it be?
Well, I've talked to guys who have been here for 5 years and 10 years, and it's like, they know Boracay and they know Makati, and it's like that's all they know, and it's like, yeah, I've been here for 5 years, been here for 10 years. I've only been to 2 different places. And so I was talking to one guy yesterday. It's like Moalboal and Cebu. That's all he knows, right? And so my advice is get the traveling over with before you settle down in one spot, because a lot of guys, they come here and they make a home somewhere, maybe Dumaguete, okay? And they stick to Dumaguete. No offense, Paul.
No,
okay. They stick to Dumaguete and they don't go anywhere else. And they realize 5 years later, oh, I wish I saw this, I wish I did that. So my advice is spend just 2 months and do the 1 day, one city traveling tour of the Philippines, and just get a bus, look at Google Maps, go to the next city over, spend 1 day there. Go to the next city over. You can do 60 cities, in 2 months. And then the thing is, it's done, okay? And then you can settle down somewhere. And then really, you just have no desire after that, because you realize, you got to be careful what you wish for. And so then you can settle down and you can spend the next 20 years in Dumaguete or Cebu or whatever. And then it's off your back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
The location, I think, is irrelevant as long as you're happy and as long as you're content. And as long as you wake up in the morning and you're feeling good about your life and about your future, no matter where you're sitting, as long as you found that peace, that internet,
not that internet, but that inner peace, and you feel like you've gotten it out of your system, and it's all systems go from this point forward. Thank you so much for being on the channel,
Yeah,
Scotty.
oh, yes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you check out the regular guy. And he's got a different kind of channel, and I love it. And he's very truthful, he's very honest, and he's a little off the hook every now and then, and that's what we need to have more of. Out of the box, realistic, and truthful. All right, kids, we'll see you in the next video.